kind of thought it was funny that I missed that completely. But now the whole grid should be hooked up. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Nidd whitelist in Space Engineers. So here we are at my respawn bay. I just came back onto the server. I've been on here a little bit earlier. So there wasn't an extra episode last week because of the update. So I came onto the server, and where is it? Here it is. This guy, to do some work, and this guy right here. We jump into him. And we take a look at his inventory. He is full. Like, not completely full, but look at this. Like, I mean, he's got just a ton of things in him because I loaded him up for Bear. He can afford it. But look at this. When I try and move, now this is actually a bit better than it was when I first logged in after the server was updated. And I couldn't move this ship at all. Like, I would press forward and it would 0 meters per second. It would not budge at all, ever. So this time it has. I don't know if that was like maybe a bug fix or something, or it was just a glitch that day that I logged in. But yeah, he is full of everything. So I couldn't actually connect him up to this. I can turn him around. The gyros worked, but I couldn't get him over here to unload some stuff and fix him up at all. It's crazy. The other thing too is I'm still in DX11 at the moment. But if we look at this, like, we're running at, so, you know, we've got about 0.7-ish, 0.8-ish sim speed, and we've got 17 frames here at this base. So I'll be right back. We're going to load back up into DX9, and we're going to see what the difference is, because Nordic was saying that it's much better. So I will be right back. Okay, so we're back, and as you can see, my sim speed is back up around 1 the majority of the time, and my frame rates is up at about 26. So it looks like it's quite a bit better at the moment. I'm getting double the frame rates, and the sim speed is much nicer. I'm moving around. I haven't been this quick in a while, so it looks different a little bit. But we might need to stick here until these issues are sorted out, because the game already has enough performance problems, frame rate issues, and all that kind of stuff, and I can't justify playing in DX11 until that stuff is fixed. So I'm hoping that they do. But anyhow, so here we are back at our welding ship. So the first thing that I want to do is see if I can just, like, see, it does turn. It's super slow. I can try and hook it up with this thing now, since I have, oh, I got garbage all over my screen, but see how slow this thing turns. Ah. Oh, I want to go this way, maybe. So I'm gonna have to retrofit a lot of these ships, I think, if they want to be able to carry anything. So if we go back, I should be able to at least hook it up to this thing and empty it out a bit. Okay, so let's see. There, it's hooked up. And everything should still work, I guess, right? So if we go into here and we find that's the one I want. This donut container, and we just empty out the things like that I don't think I'll need. But yeah, like, I've got an absolute ton of things in here, right? So probably can't carry this much stuff, actually. I gotta remove it all out and then just carry something like this, right? It's still adding a bit of weight to the ship. But if we turn this thing off now and fly away, oh, and can't get away from this now. So if I go back to here, turn off the connector. So it's flying a bit better now. Still pretty sluggish though. So it's it's gonna need more. More thrusters for sure. Like even with that little bit of stuff in it, it's flying. I can get it around though. But yeah, it's gonna need a lot more thrusters because, you know, this isn't really gonna cut it. The reason I had all that stuff in there is because I was building stuff like that, right? And that takes a lot of materials, and going back and forth to a connector constantly is just, that's just gonna take forever. So, yeah, you have to retrofit this guy and get him going a little bit faster. So I've got four thrusters on him right now. There is quite a bit of space on him to add more thrusters, but I do have to add them like all over the place. So let me kind of play around with that and see what I can come up with. Okay, so added a bunch of thrusters all around the sides, right? Added them in these crevices, down the bottom, all around the sides and the back. And so it's got a bit of thrust down. Let's see how this thing performs. So if we turn on our speed, and we just go, okay, so it picks up a lot quicker than it used to, which is good. And it's still carrying, if you can see, it's still carrying all of the stuff that I had in there from the last test. So now the question is if, like, how much can we load it up with and it still fly well? Okay, I'm not sure what's going on here, but as soon as I put in a whole bunch of steel plates, all of the thrusters just turned on. You can hear them. So if I turn that off, okay, it's already moving super slow. It's, yeah, no, it's still pretty, it's like, still, it's unusable again, pretty much. So let's see, what did I put in there? I loaded it up with, oh, that's me, sorry. Let's go to the ship. So I threw in all the steel plates, right? So I bumped it up to not even, like we got 51 out of 270 space, and the ship is super sluggish again. So yeah, this is gonna just be the way of things, it seems. I mean, I could add a bunch more. Like I could make this a ball of rockets, I guess. But yeah, that's too bad. But I mean, just maybe other solutions to be had. I have to figure it out. But I'll play around with that a little bit more in a, you know, offline, I guess. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that. The reason that episodes have been a little bit slower to get out is because I can't build anything. So I'm not sure. It's going to be a lot more manual back and forth, which is, this is sad. Or coming up with another solution. If you guys have a solution to how to make a cargo ship, I guess one thing we should point out too is that we are playing, because this server was built with YouTubers in mind, and so it's got, we're on like the 10 times storage and you know, faster welding speeds and all that kind of stuff, so that we can make progress, right? But this kind of changes that. I've read in realistic settings that it's not so bad, obviously, because you just can't fill it up as much. But so I figure what I should do in this one is I need to fix a little problem that was noted in a previous episode. So this whole welding wall, right, has been completely rebuilt because the piston one broke off. And after some analysis, it looks like it might have been a two-pronged attack, right? So there's definitely ships coming by shooting at my stuff. That was one for sure. But there was also a bug that was noted that like the entire row, like the whole thing, so it wasn't just like pieces of it were blowing off and all that kind of stuff, right? It was like the whole thing came off, and the entire, all of the like the entire row of welder heads were gone. There was also a bug I read about that was causing like the heads of all of the pistons to come off. So that might have been why that was happening too. It might have been two, it might have just been the attack. But either way, we went with this because this is gonna be more stable in the long run. So that was Matthew Richey that was saying that it looked like that one of the pistons was not grouped and snapped off, and that was, if you remember, and there was the episode where I was opening them up, and a piece of them it actually kind of came out and stuck out the side. So yeah, so he noticed that was coming apart. So yeah, I noticed that as well. Also, Elemental Blaze noticed that all these welders aren't actually attached to the system. and I completely forgot about that. I had a plan to fix that, but you see here they don't touch here, but then also here all these middle ones don't touch. So we need to basically come along here, and what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put these ones along here. You'll also notice there's no sound when I place a block now. That's been removed, it seems, because of the bug where you could hear it across the entire world when people place the block. So yeah, now it's just this. You don't hear a thing. Plop plop. That's not me doing that. That's just the way the game is working. So I'm gonna run those along there because those are still sort of exposed, right? So I'll do that, and then we're gonna put these along here, like this. So I'll run these along the top and then connect them all together. So Elemental Blaze was also saying that with the DX11 stuff, he was saying that there's some settings in the video settings and stuff for darkness, as well as you could do some stuff with like outside of the game as well. And so I did try a few of those things, and they didn't really seem to do much for me. The settings in the game, I didn't try the ones offline yet, or like outside the game, but with the problems that I'm having just with frame rate and sim speed and stuff, I figured it's just time to go back anyway. But thank you very much for those comments. Elemental Blaze was also the one, I mentioned this in the last episode, but he was also the one that was saying that we should, instead of doing like these reactors down here, right, we should do a lot of the reusable stuff. And I totally agree with him. I think it's the greatest idea, like using batteries and solar panels and oxygen farms, so that this place can be self-sufficient, and that's my plan. This place needs to be able to run on its own, and not require me to come back here all the time, right? And kind of top it up and make sure it's working and stuff. It should just be able to run on its own. So that's definitely the plan there. He also had some comments about the TARDIS. So yeah, sorry, actually. So he was saying we could add some extra gyros, like one that we can override. So as we fly it, it could actually spin. I love that. So I'm going to see if I can find a way to fit one in. It also needs more batteries because it just doesn't have quite enough space. So we'll see how this works. But there's not a whole lot of space left in this thing. But yeah, he was saying add the gyros to the tires so it can fly around. Also to like add some brighter lights on the top here, so that when use a timer maybe, so for when it's going into warp mode, right, it can flash brighter. That's a great idea as well. But yeah, it all depends on if I can fit it all in without making it too much bigger, because it's already too long, right? He was also saying on this here, on the wall of welders, that you could use sensors actually to detect how big the ship is that you're trying to build, and it can turn on the welders as we go. That's a neat idea. I don't know how that works with projections though, so I'll have to try that out and see if it's something that works while you're projecting a ship. But it's a neat idea then that it's automated, right? We don't have to tell it how big we want. It just detects how big we want. So I like that. And yeah, he was the one that's why we're doing this, because he was the one that mentioned that these things are not connected. So thank you. He also, in an episode of Motley Crew, actually left me some comments about glass placement and how you can place glass so that you actually seal what you're looking for, which is it's a problem that I was having over there. So, but I just thought I'd mention it here because his comments are really good. So I'll leave a link in the description for those if anybody else is having problems with getting glass to line up and look good and seal, right, with like different like angles and stuff. So yeah, so thank you very much for all those comments, Elemental. And David Aguirre also, he was the one that gave me the idea, and I think there was also Elemental Blaze agreed with him, I think, on these comments for allowing the pass-through, right? So he was the one that, so David Aguirre and Elemental Blaze agreed with him as to doing the pass-through inside there, right? So when we come in here, so that when somebody connects up a ship, so that all of the stuff can flow through into these, like straight through all of these refineries and assemblers if they need to, so that they can be used. So that was awesome. Also, Elemental, I think, was saying that we need a way to actually disassemble and stuff too. So if somebody comes in, builds a bunch of things, builds their ship, and they don't finish, right, or they don't use everything, that maybe on the other side here we can make like a whole disassembly array and all that kind of stuff. We'll see. Maybe I wanted to maybe pull it back into this side, because I don't really feel like hollowing out another side of the asteroid, but we'll see. I might need to anyway for defenses, because I'm thinking of putting them around the rim, right? Around the edge. But yeah, so that's some of those comments. Also, this here, the welding array, David Aguirre was saying that when I was testing it with small blocks, and small blocks take 1 steel plate, so I wasn't really testing it. So we'll do a better test, and a real test. I did test it offline afterwards. So how much? We're gonna need a bunch of stuff for this. So like, let's see if I can actually get this ship to move with just the things we need to actually weld this stuff up. Yeah, David Aguirre also mentioned his own ship. I'll leave a link in the comments to those as well, where he did a lot of work around the pass-through stuff for the ingots and things, and he's got a great description there as well. Stop hitting the ship. So definitely go check that out if you're interested. Okay, so I've loaded this thing up with a little bit of stuff. I've got 22,000 kilograms in here, or sorry, 67,000 kilograms, 22 volume. Let's disconnect this thing and see if I can. Okay, so it does move. I'm probably going to need more than I put in there, but this is moving all right. It was nice when I could just load it up with everything I would possibly need and then just go, but that's also not really realistic, I guess. It definitely makes the ships a bit more of a engineering challenge, which is also kind of nice, right? So let's see here. I want to my groups and turn on the welders and see how far. Like I put in 1,000 of everything except for 2,000 of the construction blocks. Let's see how quickly this thing runs out. We'll see anyway. So just also, Elemental Blaze was in an episode of the Partners in Grind that I do with Sal. He mentioned about he mentioned a ship that he's building that it's for collecting ore. Because in that one we do a lot of collecting of ore, but he built a ship that actually. Oh, did I run out? No. Okay. He built a ship where it goes behind your drilling ship and it collects all of the stuff that gets left behind. And it's super cool, so I'll leave a link into the comments. Oh, I think I've run out. You can go check out his... let's see if I can get the ones below here. Ooh. I'm even out of the... There, back up. Oh, I'm stuck. I'm gonna have to go refill. All right, all refilled. And I don't think I finished my thought, actually, on that last comment. But yeah, Elemental was saying that, talking about that ship that he built, and I'll leave a description in the comment. I'm not sure if I said that or not. But it's really cool. You should definitely go check it out, and I'm going to be using it, like some of the ideas from it, I guess, in my own designs going forward. I think it's kind of neat. So let me let's go this way. Also, the Flying Menace. In an episode that I did with Boris when we were building the elevator, he made the suggestion too to use like GPS coordinates and thrusters and things to actually create an elevator. Oh, I ran out of something else this time. Okay, but yeah, so he was saying to do that with the elevator, right? Like so, get the use GPS coordinates, set your floors and all that with that kind of stuff, and then get the elevator go up and down using the GPS and thrusters. And it was a really neat idea. Boris actually liked to do it. I passed it Boris's way, and he thought it was a neat idea as well. So thank you very much for that. Let's see here. I got to get back into here and refill. All right, so filled up again, and so also Marchetta Thompson made a comment about that the conveyor tubes themselves should you should actually be able to see the items flow through them, and I thought that was a neat idea. My only concern, I guess, with that is that so now that this is welded up, we should be able to take this guy down, all right, and then put one of these guys here instead. I'll have to go down the other side as well. But yeah, she was saying that it'd be really cool to see that, and I think it would be too. Actually, it'd be really cool to be able to see that. But I'm just worried that that'd be another thing that slows the game down. So yeah, here we go. Let's just speed on over to the other side. Make sure we didn't forget anything. And we have to do the same thing to this side. And get it all hooked up. Like a soul. Turn on these babies. Fly on over. Now, obviously, I don't have to do both sides, but I do like the idea of having backup, because just in case, you know, somebody comes by and shoots it. I really don't want that grid to fall off either. If, let's say, a ship came by, blew off like the couple points where it was on there, that would be really bad. So yeah, so this way it's connected in multiple places all the way across the line. And then we just got to go over to the other side over here. So yeah, this guy's a little bit sluggish now, right? But I put quite a bit more in him. Looks like I don't have to be quite as worried. And I can always, this thing could take more thrusters as well. I can add more thrusters to it. The last comment to talk about in this episode is super fun, happy time, and certainly not least, of course, definitely not least. Last comment, but not least. Where he was saying that he was like, oh, the TARDIS, is it bigger on the inside? It's like, oh, no, it's not for this one. I would love to make something like that, but I don't think that there's anything in the game that allow for that right now. If you guys have any ideas, and of course, it really can't be too many functional type mod stuff, so it would have to be vanilla, and in vanilla, I don't think there's definitely a way to do bigger on the inside. Maybe in the future they'll add some kind of blocks that allow us to do something like that, but probably not. but yeah, it'd be cool to be able to actually make a bigger on the inside TARDIS. So I should be able to get rid of this guy. It always scares me when I take stuff apart like that, because I'm afraid I'm going to disconnect a grid and never get it back and have to rebuild a whole ton of things. So now we'll head on this other way. I hope I have enough stuff in here this time to finish this whole rest of this line here. So we're picking up some speed here. Oh, gotta go forward for that. There we go. So yeah, so I just wanted to, this has been more of a talky episode, fixing up one little problem that we had in here. But I just wanted to take the time to really thank every single one of you for all of your comments and for all of your help that you've given me in this series and all the other series. And I really appreciate you guys. I love your comments. Keep them coming. I really do love them. And I read them all, and I try to respond to them all. I try to call you guys out in the episodes, all that kind of stuff. If I forget somebody, it's never intentional, or if I forget a specific thing, I don't mean to. But yeah, I really, really appreciate it, and I want you guys to know how much I really do appreciate your help and your comments and all that kind of stuff. So this is a bit of an appreciation video, I guess, right? So we're doing a little bit of work in here while we talk, but yeah, so thank you so much. And I think that should do it. So we've fixed it up. Thank you so much for your comment on that. I kind of thought it was funny that I missed that completely. But now the whole grid should be hooked up and it should be functional, right? So let's just stop here and we can get out of the ship and take a look at our handiwork. But yeah, so there you go. We've got it all hooked up on this side, all the way along the line here, and all the way along the line over there. So now it's all in working order and it's all hooked up into the inside. I have been doing a little bit of work in a creative world as well, working on a tug ship. And it ended up getting pretty massive. Like, I actually could probably use this grid to build the tug ship. But of course, I need a tug ship to pull the tug ship. And then we get pretty, recursive. I'm wondering, actually, if this guy here doesn't have a whole lot of thrust on him, right? He's just got one in each direction. But I could add maybe, I wonder if he is big enough to build the tug ship. If I could pull him through with the tug ship and then use the tug ship to pull the next ship through. One sad note, though, is my big ship that I was planning on building in here with the with this grid, that massive drilling ship, I don't think it'll work anymore because of the update with the weight of the cargo containers, right? So I'm gonna have to redesign that as well. I'm gonna have to redesign a bunch of ships now just to make sure that they're working the way that they should. Like this guy too is probably going to get a lot slower as he's like once he starts to fill up, right? They work just fine when there's nothing in them because that's how they're designed for that weight. But once you fill them up, boy oh boy, do they get slow, just like this guy here, right? And I added a bunch of small thrusters to him. I mean, maybe I could add some bigger thrusters, but I don't know. Again, I'm trying to keep him sleek, right? The whole point of this is so we can get into places. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, thank you so much for all your comments. I super appreciate them. Keep them coming. If you like this, please give me a like. It definitely helps me out, lets people find me, and also lets me know that you want me to continue making these episodes. Also, subscribe if you haven't. I do quite a bit of stuff, not just Space Engineers, other space games, and other things along the way. If you want to be notified when those things come along, and just subscribe, and you will. So we'll talk to you later, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.